Hi all, in the previous video we tried to understand the energy of Dhanista Nakshatra to some extent. So Dhanista Nakshatra energy is a receptive energy. It is basically it is a receiver. It can receive the universal energy very easily. Basically it is a wealthy and lucky nakshatra. At the same time it has the ability to receive the things. So for this particular thing, the symbolism is the damaru, the Shiva's favorite drum, that is damaru. So it has the hollowness, it has the ability to produce the music. That's why the Dhanista energy people are very good in fine arts, dance and music. The concept of hollowness is very much important. The hollowness is required to produce the music, to produce not only to produce the music, that is the symbolism of receivingness, the receptiveness. So basically it is very much receptive in nature. It is receptive in nature. That is the fundamental thing. So it has the ability to tune into some source. So we also saw that whenever a planet wants to receive the divine information, so whenever a planet wants to receive some divine information from the god, it generally keeps itself, it locates itself in the Dhanista Nakshatra, because that position is very good for receptiveness. So the ability to tune into some source, right, is very much clear in this particular nakshatra's energy. But the most important aspect of this is the source it tunes itself into, to which source it is actually tuning itself. So in the present day world, where you can see there are a lot of materialistic things going on, a lot of things going on in the media, then just observe this particular nakshatra's energy can tune into these negative sources only more, right? So it depends upon the surroundings to which they are actually tuning into. If they tune into some good sources, then yes, they become very excellent. If they become tuning, if they are tuning into some spiritual sources, yes, they will become a very good, they follow a very good spiritual path and they excel in that spiritual path. But if they are tuning themselves into something more materialistic, then they become more materialistic, right? So in this particular world, in the current world, it is very difficult for them to go to a spiritual path because there are a lot of things going on about the materialism. So generally they get attracted to this materialistic things and they become the materialistic people only generally. And Dhanista Nakshatra is a very lucky and wealthiest one, even though Dhanista Nakshatra people have suffered from some problems because of their own mistakes or because of the mistakes they do by receiving some bad inputs from the surroundings, where at some point of time luck comes to them, so which is going to put them in a very good situation. That is the energy of Dhanista we observed. So Dhanista has this particular fame and abundance. The attracting fame and abundance is also one of the capabilities of this particular nakshatra's energy. So the deity of this particular nakshatra are the deities are Ashtavasus basically. So Dhanista Nakshatra energy is a composition, is a combined energy of these Ashtavasus. And also Lord Shiva is of course the default god of this particular Dhanista Nakshatra. It acts as a bridge between the Vishnu's energy and the Shiva's energy, because Capricorn consists of the Vishnu's energy, whereas the Aquarius is full of Shiva's energy. So Dhanista Nakshatra 1-2 padas are in Capricorn and 3-4 padas in Aquarius, which is clearly showing the half Vishnu and half Shiva is present here. So if you understand more, in keeping with the basic nature and the disposition, ancient Vedic seers saw this as an active nakshatra. So even infants born under a strong influence of this nakshatra are more active than other infants. So it is a very active nakshatra basically. So they start to respond to music from a much earlier age than others. So this is a nakshatra meant for getting out in the world and doing things. It's very active. You can respond better because it has a lot of receptiveness, right? Receptiveness is the key word here. And if you observe, it belongs to a farmer caste, basically. Farmer caste in the sense a work class. So the energy is very active. So it's continuously working energy. That's why it belongs to the farmer caste. So basically the activeness, right, it falls in the Saturn sign, of course. It falls in half of the nakshatra is in Capricorn and half of the nakshatra is in Aquarius, which are the own houses of Saturn. So definitely Saturn is a working class. Saturn is your hard work. Saturn represents all the work that we do. So basically, so a planet, the Saturn is a planet which is actually belonging to the working class. So whoever works more, he is doing Saturn related work more. So Dhanista is involved in all farmer like or creative activities, or involving some work, involving some activity, that can involve some production of goods and all the stuff. So active nakshatra, and it is a female nakshatra basically. So the presiding deities, of course, we discussed. See, the deity is male. Shiva is male, and Ashtavasus also, some of them are male, most of them are male, of course, but it's a female nakshatra. Female energy is involved here. It's up to the people, because see, the god you can see as a female energy or a male energy, that is up to the people, but generally it is considered as a female nakshatra. So this is because this nakshatra relates more to the energies of its deities rather than the actual deities themselves. The energies of deities are more female, more female, that's why. So it's a female nakshatra. So these energies, the energies of the deities, are the Shaktis basically, right? So Shaktis are always female. So it's a female force basically which presides over all creative arts like music and dancing. So we also discussed in the previous video that this particular Dhanishta nakshatra energy, whenever it is into Aquarius more, right, the 3-4 Dhanista 3-4, whenever the people are taking birth in Dhanista 3-4 lagnas, right, they are very good at music or dancing. So that all male dancers of the classical forms are quite feminine, right? So in their appearance and disposition also, because the energy is basically female, right? Even though a male dancer is dancing, the art of dance itself is feminine in nature, right? So the energy of Dhanista nakshatra is related to the musical energy, the dance energy, the arts energy, right? That arts energy is female. So that's why this Dhanista energy is always considered as a female energy. If you observe the body parts that are related to this particular nakshatra are the back and the anus, of course. Even the spinal cord, as we know, is directly related to the planet Saturn and the sign Capricorn, right? So the Kundalini energy rises from the area around the anus and travels upwards through the back to the top chakra, that is Sahasrara, on the head. So this is the only way for human beings to tune into the universal mind. So this nakshatra requires one to do that in order to express its qualities, the Kundalini awakening or whatever. So Dhanista energy people, they cannot do it on their own, right? So of course some people, the other nakshatra people, they are also can't do it, but Dhanista nakshatra people definitely without a guru, people say without a guru don't practice this Kundalini awakening and all the stuff, but the gurus, the initial gurus, they got this Kundalini awakening and all the stuff, they might have done it on their own, or they might have done it from the divine divine grace, whatever. But this Dhanista energy people, they are the receptors. So they are basically the receptors. Once they receive, then only they can do it. Without that, they cannot practice it, right? So here this particular the body parts, if you observe, the back and the anus are the main body parts related to Dhanista nakshatra. So the spinal cord, of course, spinal cord is always it's directly related to Saturn and Capricorn. The planet for spinal cord is Saturn, and the sign for spinal cord is Capricorn generally. So it is having, in the Ayurveda, if you observe, the Pitta energy, the fiery energy, right, is with this particular nakshatra. So Dhanista nakshatra is having Pitta energy or the fiery energy. It is due to the relation with Mars also, you can say, right. So because Dhanista nakshatra's planetary lord is basically Mars. So if you observe different padas, how different padas are actually behave for Dhanista nakshatra, the first pada is from 23 degree 20 minutes to 26 degree 40 minutes of Capricorn, right. It is the Dhanista first pada which is in the Capricorn sign, that is 23 degree 20 minutes to 26 degree 40 minutes. So if you observe the Navamsha of this particular pada, Dhanista nakshatra first pada always falls into the Leo Navamsha. So if a planet is present in Dhanista nakshatra first pada, then of course in the Navamsha you can always find the planet is in the sign of Leo. So this particular Dhanista nakshatra first pada is related to the ambitious part of this particular nakshatra. So they are generally ambitious. So it combines the energies of if you observe Mars, Saturn and Sun also, because Sun, because it is in the Leo Navamsha, and Mars because its nakshatra lord is Mars, and Saturn because it is its sign, that is the Capricorn sign lord is Saturn. So it is a mixture of this Dhanista nakshatra first pada is always a mixture of Sun, Mars and Saturn. So it directs one towards wide worldly accomplishments, worldly achievements basically, because Sun, Mars and Saturn is hard work, and Mars is your passion, your strength, and Sun is your ego or soul. So your soul is always directed to is always directed to some worldly accomplishments only. So Sun, because Sun is not a favorable planet for marriage, of course, so this pada is not good for marital harmony, right. So Dhanista nakshatra first pada is not a good pada, is not good for marital harmony. It can also be too aggressive. Now you just observe the energy, Sun, Mars and Saturn, just see the energy, it's completely, so Mars is involved, Sun is involved, Sun is a king, he is like a very big warrior, and Mars is a warrior, the main warrior is Mars, and Saturn is the working, it's continuously working, continuously active. It is so Dhanista nakshatra first pada is generally not good for marital harmony. So it can also be too aggressive, that is one thing that I want to tell. So this pada assures easy success in one's undertaking. So whatever they try to do, it is generally they get success in whatever they do, but only the marriage is the problem here. And it's some kind of focus, some kind of fame also, they can easily get some kind of fame also, whatever they do they can get very fame very easily. That is the Dhanista nakshatra first pada, because famous, it is the nakshatra, Dhanista nakshatra is a nakshatra that can attract the fame and the abundance very easily, right. So So that is the Dhanista Nakshatra first pada. Only the disadvantage is marriage stuff. Once their marriage stuff is very good, everything is very good in their life. The second pada is from 26 degree 40 minutes to 30 degrees Capricorn. So basically is the Dhanista second pada. So whenever a planet is sitting in the Dhanista Nakshatra second pada, it falls in the Virgo Navamsha. So in the Navamsha chart, you can find the planet is falling in the sign of Virgo in the Navamsha. Of course, Navamsha, Virgo, so Mercury is coming into the picture, right? So in the Navamsha, Mercury, right, because Virgo, it is falling in the Virgo, Dhanista second pada. So as Mercury is coming into the picture, it relates to the skillful and communicative part of this nakshatra, because skill and communication is very much important. So this is a highly adaptable pada which often gives a lot of success in one's chosen pursuits. However, once again, Mercury's mutability is not good for marital harmony here. You can understand Mercury, right? This Mercury's mutability is coming into the picture. So Dhanista second pada is also a kind of, is not a very good thing for marital harmony. So the rulership of Mercury gives this pada good mind and hand coordination also. So they are generally, they are very skillful, they are intelligent, they are intelligents. So musical and athletic skills, in musical skills and athletic skills, they are very good. Dhanista Nakshatra second pada people, they are very good with musical skills and athletic skills. The only thing is they need to take care of their marriage, right? So Mercury is a neutral planet, so there they have to take care here in the marriage issues. So the third pada are the Dhanista Nakshatra third pada. It's actually, it is starting from 0 degree Aquarius to 3.20 degree Aquarius. It's falling in the Libra Navamsha. So Venus is coming into the picture here, right? So this relates to the amicable, optimistic, happy, social, musical, group oriented and wealthy aspect of Dhanista, because Dhanista Nakshatra third pada, at the same time it is starting of the Aquarius. So social, Aquarius is the more social sign, right? So it's a very good thing. The Dhanista Nakshatra third pada is one of the best padas, you can say. So here Venus is coming into the picture. So Venus is the natural significator of harmony. So this pada promotes marital harmony basically. Venus is coming into the picture. So only Dhanista 1, 2 are a bit not very, they are not very good for marital harmony, but Dhanista Nakshatra third pada is very good for marital harmony because Venus is coming into the picture here. So this is the pada which carries the most refined and subtle attributes of this nakshatra. So it relates to those involved in music, fine arts, astrology also, right? So that is because they can receive the divine information. That is where they are the good receptors and they can receive the divine information better. So that's where they can become a natural astrologers, right? So that is the Dhanista third is very good. It's excellent. They are very good in fine arts basically, dance and music, fine arts, even astrology. They are very good, and marital harmony is also very good. So Dhanista Nakshatra third pada is always good. So the fourth pada of Dhanista, it's ranges from 3 degree 20 minutes to 6 degree 40 minutes of Aquarius, which is falling in the Navamsha of Scorpio. So this pada has excessive Martian energy because the lord of the nakshatra itself is Mars. Dhanista Nakshatra lord is Mars, and in the Navamsha also it is falling in the sign of Scorpio where Mars is the lord here. So Mars, Saturn, so more Mars energy. Saturn is because its Aquarius lord is Saturn. So this pada has excessive Martian energy and it relates to the rhythmical aspect of this nakshatra. So it is helpful in creative arts requiring a lot of energy like drumming, right? So they are very good in fine arts basically. Dhanista Nakshatra energy people, they are very good in fine arts. So drumming is very good for them, right? So because they have a lot of energy and they can play drums continuously, they have this ability. So this pada is sympathetic to the underdog. However, this pada is not good for marital harmony due to its excessive aggressiveness. So again, the problem of marital harmony is Mars is coming into the picture, because this pada is directly falling into this one, the Scorpio Navamsha. So this pada has a warrior's attitude and gives sporting power, very much athletic ability and sporting power. So they are very good in sports, they are very good with drumming and all this stuff, because they have a lot of Martian energy, so a lot of passion they have. So but as this Mars in the Navamsha also, it's coming into the picture as a Navamsha Lord, more Martian energy, not good for marital harmony, right? So that is one thing. And so the professions, if you talk about the professions of this particular Dhanishta Nakshatra energy by padas, you might have understood by this time, but if you see overall the Dhanista energy people, they can be musicians, dancers, they are fine arts performers basically. So management side of the entertainment industry, the drummers basically, the rhythm, who can catch the rhythm and perform, the orchestration, the creative artists. So basically they are very good receptors. So even those they are very good in astrology also, the gemstones, the precious metal dealers, athletes, and some of the people are very good in business, because the Ashtavasus, they are the 8 Vasus that they have as the deity. So they can do anything basically, because they are very good with a lot of professions. If you name the professions, they are very good in almost all the professions, you can say, because this particular nakshatra, as we discussed in the first part of this video, this is a very complicated nakshatra in the sense it is having the combined energies of so many nakshatras, right? That's what we discussed in the first part of the video. So they are very good with different professions basically. So the places, if you want to feel the energy of this nakshatra, let me tell you some of the places where you can find this kind of energy. So all the places related to music and other creative arts, wherever you go, schools or studios or music auditor, music studios, whatever you go to, all of them, the dance clubs and everything. So you can find this kind of energies even in the meditation rooms, because in the meditation you receive the energy from external sources. That's where you feel the concept of receptiveness. So this nakshatra energy is more related to receptiveness. So even in the gardens where you find a very you feel very good, means you receive some energy from gardens also, right? Wherever you are doing some kind of reception, so that is where you can find this energy. Sports stadiums, because these people are very good athletes, they are very good drummers, dancers, very good in music, fine arts, all the stuff, sports, athletics, right? So that is the energy of this nakshatra. It is supposed to be a tamasic nakshatra. If you observe the guna, the nature of this particular nakshatra, the tattva of this particular nakshatra is a tamasic nakshatra, because it is in its nakshatra lord is Mars, and it is in the sign of Capricorn. Half of the nakshatra is in Capricorn, and another half of the nakshatra is in Aquarius. So basically it is having the energy of Saturn also. So Saturn and Mars both are tamasic planets, so you can clearly see. So but at the same time, even though it is a tamasic nakshatra, it is very active nakshatra, right? So this nakshatra is a tamasic and active nakshatra. That is a speciality of this particular nakshatra, you can say. So if you see the gana of this one, it is a Devagana or Rakshasa Gana, then it is a Rakshasa nakshatra, it's a demonic nakshatra. So because of the natural malefics Mars and Saturn, it's involvement of two natural malefics, because the nakshatra lord is Mars and the sign lord is Saturn. So because of that, both are naturally malefics, natural malefics. Of course, they are functionally benefics or not, functionally malefics or not, that depends upon your ascendant. But because of the natural malefics involvement here, it has become the Rakshasa nakshatra. So this kind of energy, it carries an energy which always tries to bring about change in the present situation. It always tries to change the present. The most godly nakshatras are related to maintaining the status, right? So but this nakshatra is a demonic nakshatra, so it tries to bring a change forcefully at any cost, right? But whereas godly nakshatras are something like they are going to maintain the existing situation in a harmonious way, right? So in the present times, this particular negative quality of this nakshatra, that is bringing change, Dhanista is always about bringing change, because it is a demonic nakshatra, it's an active nakshatra at the same time, so it tries to bring the change at any cost, right? So whenever there is a negative environment, so it will try to make it a bit positive, and if it is positive, then it is a bit unwelcoming situation, because if it is positive, then it will try to change it to negative to an extent, right? So such kind of things we can expect from this nakshatra, because it is a change. It is not like it's good to it's like good to bad or bad to good, right? It depends upon the present situation, because it brings the change. It brings the change with demonic activities, right? So at any cost, it brings the change. That is the word you can use. Now if you observe, it relates to the middle portion of the lunar month of Shravana. So this period usually corresponds to the month of August in the solar calendar. So Dhanista is also related to the 8th Tidhi, it's the Ashtami of the waxing and waning phases of the moon's monthly cycle. So in the Vedic culture, every month consists of, month is called as the Masa, and Masa consists of 2 Paksha, each Paksha lasts for 15 days. So in every Paksha you have the 8th day, because Paksha means 15 days. So the 8th day of each Paksha is called as the Ashtami, it's called as the Tidhi is Ashtami. So it is having similar energy. So the 8th day, right? So that is the energy of Dhanista. So what are the auspicious activities that you can perform on the day of Dhanista? The day of Dhanista means when moon is in Dhanista nakshatra. Let us say today, so moon stays in every sign for 2.5 days. Let us say in a sign it is staying for 2.5 days, and in one day it is staying in Dhanista nakshatra for the whole day. Then we say that day is of Dhanista nakshatra. So just after the sunrise, if you just observe where moon is present, so if moon is in Dhanista nakshatra, then we say that day is of Dhanista nakshatra day. So on the day of Dhanista nakshatra, what are the auspicious activities you can perform? So any religious rituals and performances, creative activities in general, especially musical and dancing related activities, the group activities, because there is Aquarius energy involved here. So huge crowd events like concerts, opening ceremonies, all activities involving any kind of splendor and all the stuff, purchasing movable and immovable properties, traveling, right? Good for both short trips and long journeys also. All activities requiring aggression and a proactive attitude, because it is having more Martian energy. So lending money and all kinds of financial transactions you can perform, even the meditation and yoga, gardening, buying new clothes, gemstones, jewelry, buying new jewelry, favorable for treating diseases and commencing educational ventures, career activities involving fame and recognition, because it is a nakshatra which can attract fame and abundance very easily. So learning how to use any kind of weaponry also, because Mars energy is also involved here, right? So it is good for all these activities. And for which activities it is actually inauspicious? If you check that, it is unfavorable for sexual activity or marriage. So activities of a fixed or restrictive things like giving up old habits, etc., it is not very good. So even if you try to give up the old bad habits, right, on the day of Dhanista Nakshatra, you may not be able to do it. So that is the concept here. So it's not a good it's not a good time to form new partnerships also, because of the Mars energy. It's not a good time for homely activities like cleaning, etc. Is not a good nakshatra for dealings with people requiring cleverness and gentleness, because it involves more Martian energy here. So it's not a good nakshatra for sexual activity or marriage. That is the main thing here. So the planetary ruler, if you observe, it is the Saturn, the main sorry, it is the Mars. The nakshatra lord is Mars and the sign lord is Saturn, of course. So the main planetary influences here are Mars, Saturn, and even Rahu to an extent is also having some influence, because Rahu's energy is very much similar to Aquarius energy. So even some people consider Rahu's own sign is Aquarius. So Mars being its planetary, it's a primary ruler, because Dhanista Nakshatra lord is Mars. So it represents the principle, it always follow the principles and principles of Martian energy only. So bravery is a quietly strongly associated thing with this particular nakshatra. So this is the reason why it connects with warriors, weapons and military personnel basically. So courage is a prerequisite for a lot of sports, as well as a lot of adventurous sports or mountain climbing and many athletic activities. So courage is very much required. So Dhanista Nakshatra energy is more related to this kind of athletics, sports, fine arts. So there some courage is required. So this nakshatra gives that energy for sure, and it is very easy for this nakshatra. So it finds its expression through people involved in this kind of energies, where sports people or the athletics or the fine arts, music, dancing and all this stuff. You can, the expression of those people, you can find there the Dhanista Nakshatra energy more. So here Saturn is the sign ruler, in whether it is Capricorn, the Dhanista 1, 2 or Dhanista 3, 4 in Aquarius. Saturn's rulership is present here. It's relating to the organizational ability of this nakshatra. So Saturn is very organizational, Saturn is patience and it is discipline. So the organizational ability of this nakshatra comes from the Saturn's energy. So it usually sets itself long term goals, so which it takes to fulfill at any cost. So that is the behavior of Dhanista. So discipline, as we know, is a key to excelling in any of the creative arts. So just observe the rhythm is the key word here, the receptiveness and the rhythm, the discipline, right? So that is where that kind of energy you can always find in any kind of fine arts, as music or dancing. Just observe the rhythm of the grace of a dancer. That's the Dhanista energy, the discipline, the rhythm, right? So even setting the long term goals is very much required, because you cannot master, you cannot excel in music or dance in these fine arts. You cannot excel in one day or 1 month or 1 year or 2 years. It's a continuous process. So generally this energy makes them to have some long term goals only. Even the athletics and sports cannot excel in a single day or single month or single year, right? It requires some long term goals. So generally this energy makes these people to put long term goals only. So So it has a relationship with Rahu, as we discussed, and to an extent to Uranus also, but we are not talking about as Uranus or Pluto or Neptune here. Generally in Vedic astrology we talk about Rahu, of course. So Rahu, Rahu means the mass media, and because Aquarius, here we are talking about Aquarius, we are not talking about the out of the box innovative research of Rahu's energy, we are not talking about that, but the mass media basically, because Aquarius is a sign of socialism, social connectivity, right? So this is the reason why a lot of top people in the entertainment industry have a strong Dhanista influence in their chart, if you observe, because the Rahu is also taking part here. Dhanista has this kind of ability. So Dhanista can give in the entertainment industry, it has some influence, right? The socialism is the main keyword here. So it likes to make people wealthy and respected in their chosen fields. So it's a wealthy nakshatra basically. It attracts abundance, right? So that is where the Rahu is coming into the picture. That is the only thing, right? So Mars in Capricorn, Mars in Aquarius, so Rahu Mars conjunction and Mars Saturn conjunction in nakshatras like Rohini, Mrigashira, Punarvasu, Pushyami, Chitra, Anuradha or Uttara Bhadrapada carry an energy similar to the energy of Dhanista. So whenever you're finding Mars in Capricorn, so Mars in Capricorn, Mars generally exalts in Capricorn. So Mars in Capricorn is similar to Dhanista energy, right? And Mars in Aquarius also similar to Dhanista energy. So Rahu Mars conjunction is also same as the Dhanista energy. So even though you don't have any planet in your Dhanista nakshatra, but still you find Rahu Mars conjunction in your chart, then you have some Dhanista energy with you, right? And Mars Saturn conjunction, so even though you don't have any planet in the Dhanista nakshatra, but you have Mars and Saturn conjunction in your horoscope, that is going to act similar to a Dhanista nakshatra energy, right? And where, let us say Mars is in Capricorn, Mars is in Aquarius, Rahu Mars conjunction, Mars Saturn conjunction, where this things must be present in your horoscope to understand that particular conjunction or that particular placement is equivalent to the Dhanista energy. Is there are some nakshatras, let us say if you are having this particular placement like Mars in Capricorn, Mars in Aquarius, Rahu Mars conjunction or Mars Saturn conjunction, if you find these placements or this kind of, if you find this kind of placements or if you find this kind of conjunctions in nakshatras like Rohini, Mrigashira, Punarvasu, Pushyami, Chitra, Anuradha, Uttara Bhadrapada, these nakshatras only. Let us say you have Rahu Mars conjunction in Revati nakshatra, that is not equivalent to Dhanista nakshatra energy, okay? Let us say you have Rahu Mars conjunction in some nakshatra like Magha, that is not equivalent to Dhanista nakshatra energy. If you find Rahu Mars conjunction in Rohini, Mrigashira, Punarvasu, Pushyami, Chitra, Anuradha, Uttara Bhadrapada only, then you can say that is equivalent to the Dhanista nakshatra energy, wealthy and lucky, attracting fame and abundance, right? So Rahu Mars Saturn conjunction completely carries the energy of Dhanista nakshatra. So if you find Rahu Mars Saturn conjunction in any chart, wherever it may be, in any nakshatra, Rahu Mars Saturn conjunction is present, let us say in any nakshatra, in any sign, right, that is equivalent to Dhanista nakshatra energy. Rahu Mars Saturn, right? So the conjunction of Rahu Mars Saturn is Dhanista. So now Moon, Mars, Saturn, Mercury, Venus and Rahu usually do well in Dhanista Nakshatra energy. So only thing is the Dhanista Nakshatra, the padas, they are not very good for the only except the third pada. Only the Dhanista Nakshatra third pada is, of course, it is good for marriage, marital harmony, but other padas are not so good for marital harmony. So Moon and Mars do better in Capricorn part, while Mercury, Venus and Rahu far better in the Aquarius part. So Saturn's positioning in the nakshatra will make success slow to come and may totally deny marital pleasures. So this was a very strong olden belief that if Saturn is in Dhanista nakshatra, the person's success is very slow and there is no marital pleasure for the person. Saturn in Dhanista is like that. It completely denies marital pleasure. So this is one of the oldest and fundamental beliefs in the Vedic astrology. And it is very unfortunate if Saturn in Dhanista, they have to do some kind of remedies for sure. So if you observe the sexual type and compatibility of this particular nakshatra, sexual animal is a lion. So this nakshatra has a strong connection with the lion, which goes far beyond its sexual preferences. So on a sexual plane, this type does not relate well with other nakshatras except the lion or tiger nakshatras. So those are Dhanista, Chitra, Vishakha and Purva Bhadrapada. A sexual compatibility of Dhanista can be with Dhanista, Chitra, Vishakha, Purva Bhadrapada. So in keeping with its animal, it is not very enthusiastic about sexual activity, even though it might have multiple partners. So for sexual and marital harmony, this is not a very good nakshatra. Of course, it has the sexual very enthusiastic. It is not very enthusiastic because by seeing the animal itself you can see that, but other placements also can be checked in the horoscope. It's not like somebody is having Dhanista Lagna or Dhanista Moon. You cannot say, even though they have multiple partners or something like that, it doesn't mean that they are not so good in this particular sexual energies and all this stuff. Other planets, other planetary energies, like something like in the Bharani or Revati nakshatras, if you find more planetary energies also for them, right, for the Dhanista Moon or Dhanista Lagna people, then definitely, so the Revati is an elephant sexual energy, so gigantic sexual energy, and the double gigantic sexual energy is Bharani. So if you find any planetary energies in Bharani or Revati, of course they are very sexual in nature, right? So not only the moon's presence and in the Dhanista or Lagna presence in the Dhanista, you have to check, not only this placement, you have to check other placements of the planets as well. So the whole horoscope checking is required. So that is one thing I want to tell. The stars of this nakshatra lie very close to the constellation of Andromeda, so where a lot of godly and demonic forces are said to reside. The Andromeda, right, is where you can find both a lot of godly and demonic forces are present in this particular. So however, the 8 Vasus which preside over the stars of this particular constellation, this particular Dhanista nakshatra, deity is Astavasus, right, they are all godly in nature. So the stars are called as dolphins or delphinus, right. So the most intelligent and benevolent among all the sea creatures, if you observe the dolphins. So this nakshatra shares a lot of its traits with dolphins. Even dolphins are known for their permanent mysterious smile. So the smile of Dhanista Nakshatra energy we talked about in the first part of this video, it's a blissful. So you everybody would like to watch the smile of a Dhanista energy personality. So this particular constellation, it's a half Shiva and half Vishnu's energy we talked about. So in astrological point of view, it connects the signs of a Capricorn and Aquarius. It acts like a bridge between Capricorn and Aquarius, because Dhanista 1-2 is Capricorn's ending and Dhanista 3-4 is the starting of Aquarius. So Capricorn is Vishnu's energy, whereas Aquarius is Shiva's energy. So this nakshatra acts like a bridge between these two energies, half Vishnu and half Shiva. So if you observe, Capricorn is a natural 10th house in the whole Kalapurush Kundali. When you consider Aries as a first house, and so automatically Capricorn becomes the 10th house. It's the house of karma, whereas the Aquarius is the 11th house, corresponds to the fruits of the karma. So this nakshatra is clearly relates to the fulfillment of one's goals, the desires or ambitions as a result of good karma, of course. So from previous births even, so whatever good karma that you do in this life, and based on your previous life karmas, you can get fruits in this particular life, of course. So it is a balancing point between the forces of maintenance and destruction, because Capricorn is the sign of Vishnu, whereas Shiva's energy is primarily lying in Aquarius sign. So clearly the Lord Shiva is related to the destruction, whereas Lord Vishnu is related to maintenance. So it has the balancing point of this one, of these two forces. And if you observe, this is the 23rd nakshatra. So if you observe, the number 23 is a number associated, it's a royal star of the lion. Generally say number 23 is it's related to lion. It's a royal star. You can say the number 23, 2, 3, right? So it's something like a royal line. The moment you're saying royal line, then you are trying to denote something related to Magha nakshatra's energy, because Magha is the royal line. People generally say it's the right. So but Magha is actually directly lying directly opposite to the Aquarius part of this nakshatra, means Dhanista 3-4. If you just observe Dhanista 3-4 part, just opposite to it, you can clearly find Magha's energy. So these two nakshatras can be seen as partners. Magha, as we know, is the nakshatra related to royal honors and exalted status. It's a great status generally. So Dhanista, especially its latter half, that is the Dhanista 3-4, also carries within itself these qualities. Some of the Magha's qualities, especially the Dhanista 3, is very excellent. They can achieve anything, even they can achieve marital harmony also, right? So Dhanista 3 is very good, and it is very much having the positiveness of the Magha nakshatra, I can say. So lion is an animal strongly associated with both of these nakshatras, of course Magha or Dhanista. So 23 is regarded as a very fortunate number. It's a the number 23 it carries the energy of completion always. So both these nakshatras, Magha and Dhanista, carry the completion aspect very much, you know. So completion in the sense they can become very good in their in whatever field they choose, right? Especially Dhanista 3 is excellent basically. So wealthiest, it's becoming famous, having lot of abundance. So this kind of words we can use with this particular nakshatra generally. So in their chosen fields, they can do very good, because due to the repeated past life efforts or having more, you can say, it's repeated efforts. They repeated their efforts in their earlier births also to overcome some of the difficulties, to achieve the greatest things, right? So this particular, in this particular birth, of course, this because of this Dhanista's energy, so more Dhanista's energy is showing that the people might have done lot of, they put lot of efforts to achieve something, and this is the birth where they can come out of all the problems and achieve, something. That's why the luck comes to them, to their life very much suddenly, so this kind of thing. So for marital harmony, it is not so good. Dhanista 1, 2, 4, but they are very good. So they are very good in other fields. Of course, everything is good for them. They are the luckiest, basically. So then this nakshatra is also related to the sage Angirasa. So one of the 7 celestial sages looking after the affairs of our galaxy, the Milky Way. So the name of this sage translates into the fiery one. Angirasa means the fiery one. So which is in keeping with the Martian aspect of this particular nakshatra, a fieriness. So let us say you have a planet afflicted in the Dhanista nakshatra. So if you are suffering from some bad effects resulting from afflictions to this particular nakshatra, the best remedial measure is worship of the lion riding goddess Durga. That is one important thing. Even Harihara means half of the nakshatra is Vishnu and half is Shiva. So Shiva is of course the Aquarius part, and means for Dhanista 3-4 Shiva is very much impactful, effective, and for Dhanista 1-2 Vishnu is very much effective. So that is one thing. If you have some affliction here, then you can just pray those lords. So if you want, you can also pray 8 Vasus, the Ashtavasus. So the practice of Raja Yoga, which involves the rising of the Kundalini through the 7 sacred centers, right? So is one of the best ways to utilize this nakshatra's potential. So Raja Yoga is very good. If you are practicing some meditational techniques, then always follow Raja Yoga technique. The Raja Yoga is very good for you. This particular path is very good for you. So persons who are benefiting from the positive energy of this nakshatra can also increase the good effects through the ways we mentioned, that is the chanting Durga mantra, or worshipping goddess Durga, lion riding goddess Durga especially. So practice of Raja Yoga or worshipping Harihara, means Vishnu and Shiva, is also very good for you. So this is the energy of this nakshatra. So if you observe some famous personalities like the life of Bhishma, so one of the major characters in the Vedic epic, that is Mahabharata, so it clearly exemplifies the energy of Dhanista. He took and observed the vow lifelong celibacy, right, and was unconquerable. He is always, nobody can win him in the battle. He is really unconquerable, you can say. So he is very generous also, even to his competitors. He was very generous and showed a lot of courage. Even at the time of death also he showed a lot of courage. Just observe his energy. There is a pure Dhanista's energy, Bhishma, you can find, right? So see the marital thing, lifelong celibacy. He made a oath, and for that just he took the lifelong celibacy. There was no marriage. So other things are excellent for him, right? So only in the concept of marriage they are having some suffering. If you see another personality, that's Marilyn Monroe, the famous model and actress, has her moon in the Dhanista, right? So moon in the Dhanista in the 7th house, that too in the 7th house. So the 7th house relates to one's public image and relationship with the masses also. So she definitely utilized all of Dhanista's charm to become a mass sex symbol. So her famous smile, see the smile, right? So smile is Marilyn Monroe's smile is, you know, that is Dhanista's energy, that consists of Dhanista's energy, and heavy alluring eyelids characterize this peculiar, the captivating facial expression of this particular nakshatra's energy. So Dhanista, of course, spoiled her marital life. She had 2 unsuccessful marriages and a host of unsatisfying affairs, of course. So it's clearly showing the Dhanista's energy, the Dhanista smiles and the captivating facial expression, right? So that is it about this particular Dhanista's energy. So if you talk about in the olden scriptures, Varaha Mihira also quoted, moon in Dhanista makes a person very liberal, brave, rich, and they can adapt to any kind of situation. They are very good in music and fine arts. So those who know about Marilyn Monroe can see that her life fits in this Dhanista Nakshatra energy very clearly, right? So she was more intelligent and learned than her public image portrayed, and was said to have liberal views. The liberal views is one of the best things of this particular Dhanista Nakshatra energy. So she even married people who were at the top of their respective fields. Her moon is in the first pada of this particular Dhanista Nakshatra in the Capricorn. So clearly we discussed the Dhanista Nakshatra first pada Capricorn. It's not so good, especially Dhanista 1-2 padas are not at all good for marital harmony, right? So these people are generally very good in other matters except this particular you know marital harmony stuff. So that is about this nakshatra. We'll talk about this nakshatra more in our third part of this video also, right? Thanks for watching this video.